Hello everyone and welcome back to DWG TV. I'm Hannah and today I'm joined by Grainne Owen, who is the co-founder of Curing Kids Cancer. So today we're doing a nonprofit spotlight on them and really sharing how this nonprofit came about, how it's evolved since its beginning, and how digital marketing has played into its success. So if you want to start off by introducing yourself and just kind of sharing what it is that you do at Curing Kids Cancer.
Okay, so my name is Grainne Owen. And I founded Curing Kids Cancer after I lost one of my little boys to leukemia when he was 9 years old. There was a drug that probably would have saved his life, but the doctors didn't have the money to get it out of the lab and into treatment. Mm-hmm. So after we lost him, I just felt like I was supposed to do something about that. Mm-hmm. You fight so hard when your child is sick, and I just felt like I wasn't ready to give up fighting, even though, it wasn't going to benefit Killian anymore, but I knew so many people who were still battling it, and I just couldn't stand the thought of them being in the same position that we were, where, they might lose their child just because there wasn't enough money to get the drug they needed to the child. So I started raising money in 2005, and we are about to hit the $15 million mark.
Wow, that's amazing.
So yes, a huge milestone for us. When I started raising money at my kitchen table, I never dreamed that I would be able to raise that much money.
Yeah. So how did that get started? Like, how did you just decide this is what I'm going to do? How did it start from just an idea and something you're passionate about to bringing that idea to life?
Well, it was kind of a God thing, really, because I was sitting with my three boys, because Killian was a twin, and then I've got one older boy and one younger, and it was coming up to Killian's first anniversary, and I didn't want them to feel bad, and so I was sitting telling them that, we shouldn't feel bad because Killian was healthy and happy and not in pain anymore, and that God was looking after him better than we ever could, even though it wasn't what we wanted and wasn't where we wanted him to be. And I suddenly thought, well, if I believe what I'm telling my children, then I shouldn't be sad and angry and depressed. And I remembered at that moment the drug that was stuck in the lab. And it was funny because at the time when the doctor told me about it, I wondered why he told us, because we couldn't have it. So what was the point in telling us that there was a drug that might have saved him? But that was why. I was supposed to know that, and I was supposed to remember that at that moment, because I knew, like, right here, that that's what I was supposed to do. And the one thing Killian could not stand when he was sick was me being upset. So I thought, okay, it's time I made a decision to do something positive. And we had a coach at that time who had told his team not to buy him a gift at the end of the season to donate the money to the hospital where Killian was treated. And I remembered that, and I thought that is a great way for us to raise money. It's unique and different, and so we asked youth sports teams at the end of the season, instead of buying a traditional gift card for the coach, if they would donate the money to us. And we actually had t-shirts and hats and whistles made with our logo on. So the coach still gets a gift, but the majority of the money comes to us and goes to research. So we started in the fall season, sports season, and I thought maybe we'd raise about $5,000 if we were lucky, and we actually raised $45,000.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, this is a good idea.
Yeah, that's incredible.
It's a better idea than I thought.
Yeah.
That was how we got started, and I just sat at my kitchen table and I emailed every single sports organisation that I could think of that might listen to my story and understand why I was doing what I was doing and want to help. And so I wrote my story down and sent it out electronically to everybody I could think of, and people started to help. So
wow, that is an amazing story. Did you have any idea of what starting a nonprofit looked like? Any experience with that? How was that process like, co-founding this nonprofit with your husband?
Well, it was daunting because I had no clue. In fact, I came from a career that was like the total opposite of that, because I used to work for the London Stock Exchange, which is like the most for-profit organisation you can probably think of. And so to start a nonprofit, I had no clue what I had to do, but we had a lawyer friend who helped us for free. We had an accountant friend who helped us for free, and they all helped us, register with the IRS, because I wanted to do everything properly.
Right.
I didn't want to be one of those organizations where people give their money and then discover it's not legit. I was like, no, because this is for my child.
Of course.
I'm doing this in his memory, so it has to be exactly right, and people have to believe in what we're doing and believe in us. So that's how we got started. I stayed up till 2:00 in the morning, sitting at my kitchen table, just like doing research on sports and organizations and youth sports and
so many things out of your comfort zone.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
So how has Curing Kids Cancer evolved since that beginning of you sitting at your kitchen table, staying up till 2 a.m. to now you have a team and you're incredibly successful? How has it evolved?
Well, there are 5 of us now, so it's still not a big organization by any stretch of the imagination, but that's what I wanted. I didn't want to be spending money on overheads and marketing and all sorts of things that big salaries for people or anything like that, because that's not why I was doing it. And I feel like you can't ask people to donate their money to research and then spend it on other things. So we keep our costs to an absolute minimum. Our maximum is like 15% on admin and 85% goes to the research. And that's like, we keep that as our sort of limit. Quite often we come in below that, which is good. But I set up a medical advisory board because I wanted to get the best people possible to be looking at where we should give the money that we raise, because there's no point raising lots of money and then not knowing what to do with it.
Right.
So I actually asked the 2 doctors who were my son's doctors at the National Cancer Institute. They were the head of pediatric oncology there. And I said, would you chair my medical advisory board? And they said yes. They picked out, I said to them, if you had a dream team, who would you pick? They gave me a list of names and they said, don't be upset if some of them say no, because they're awfully busy, because these are the best doctors, in the country as far as we are concerned. And every single one said yes. So we got our dream team. So we started out with a fantastic medical advisory board. And it just kind of went from there. We now partner, we started a partnership back in 2012 with Meachem Car Auctions. Okay. Now, they are the largest classic and muscle car auction house in the world.
Okay.
And their auctions are televised on NBC Sports. And I didn't know a thing about cars or car auctions or anything, but somebody had donated a motorcycle to the charity, and I was like, what do I do with a motorcycle? But luckily it was being filmed, the making of the bike was being filmed on a TV show, and it was on the Discovery Channel. And the producer said, well, Meachem is also on the Discovery Channel. Let me ask them if they would auction the bike for you when it's finished. And I was like, great, So they did, and I went to the auction, and the bike was worth probably around 20 or 30,000, and it sold for 45. And then Dana Meachem, who owned the company, kicked in another 10. So in like 90 seconds flat, we had raised $55,000 and I'd done nothing. And I was like, wow, that's, amazing. And I was seeing all these cars being sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so I eventually managed to talk to Dana Meachem and said, would you partner with us? And he was like, well, why you? Why should I partner with you when there's so many other charities out there and they ask me to do things all the time? And I said, well, do you want to make a difference with what you do with your philanthropy? And he was like, yes, of course. And I said, okay, well then you need to pick a cause and you need to support that cause like wholeheartedly. It has to be something you can get behind. And then, when people come to you and ask you to do things, you can say, I've got a cause and this is what it is.
Yeah.
And he went, oh. And you could see him thinking, wow, I can see the sense in that. And so he said, okay, let's give it a go. And that was 5.5 years ago, and they have helped us raise over $5 million during that
Wow.
time. So it worked.
Yeah.
But I still have to pinch myself when I go to the auctions because they're huge. I mean, you know, it's like the 250 people travel with them everywhere they go, and they have a different auction in a different city like every month. And this amazing, like, huge machinery organization that sells all these cars is partnering with tiny little Curing Kids Cancer, and it's making a difference, and they love it, and the staff get behind it 100%, and they get all emotional because we bring the children out from the hospitals if they're close by to where we're having an auction, to bang the gavel and sell cars and things because the kids love it, and the staff just, you know, they really want to help. They really want to make a difference. And now that we're funding things like CAR T-cell therapy, which has a 95% success rate, they are excited. I'm excited.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's great.
It's a great partnership for both of you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what are all the ways that Curing Kids Cancer fundraises and how y'all distribute the funds?
Well, Meachem is one of them, but we also have a very big golf tournament that we do every year, and it's in Dallas, and AT&T is our host for that. And that has raised the last couple of years between $300,000 and $500,000 for us. So that's a huge thing for us. And we also have one big event in Atlanta because that's where we used to all be together. Right. And so that's usually some type of gala, or this year it's actually cabaret, and we are getting 10 of Atlanta's businessmen to come in and dress as drag queens, and they're going to compete against each other, like kind of like Dancing with the Stars, but with drag queens.
That's so fun.
Yes, so that'll be really fun, and each of them is going to raise money for us. And then we've got like a summer social that we do, which is actually going to be at the Atlanta Braves stadium this year.
Okay.
And we also do lots of events right here in South Carolina, which is very exciting for us. We actually have a unique event coming up, a tailgate. It's going to be at the Alabama-South Carolina football game.
Okay.
And somebody owns 2 railroad carriages that are parked right down by the stadium. And so he's letting us use them for our cocktail party. So it's going to be a huge tailgate. And so we're hoping that will raise a lot of money too. And we're going to bring some of the children from the hospital. And
that's great.
The athletics department's working with us too, because September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month.
Okay.
And for the last 6 years, we have actually worked with college football teams to try and make people aware of that, because everybody knows October is for breast cancer, but hardly anybody knows that September is for childhood cancer.
Right.
So the team usually wears our wristbands, and Will Muschamp has been wearing a gold whistle for us during the game that they pick to support us. And it's just simply, we're not trying to raise money with that. We are just trying to make people aware of the fact that you know, they need to support childhood cancer.
Yeah. Wow, that's a lot of events that y'all put on. Such a small team.
I know, yes, it's incredible. They're amazing. They work very, very hard. They work evenings and weekends, and they're wonderful.
That's
they
incredible.
really are.
So what digital marketing tactics have helped y'all get to the point where you are today? What kind of strategies have y'all seen a lot of success with in spreading awareness and with fundraising, things of that nature?
Well, I mean, it's all sorts of things, really. I mean, our website, of course, is like the main thing, and we redesigned that about 2 years ago.
Okay.
And it was amazing the difference just redesigning our website made, and we have a new logo, which it's the shape of a heart on a little platform, but actually if you look at it, it's a C, a K, and a C. And people love that, you know, the fact that it's kind of like a little secret symbol. And so, you know, that made a huge difference, redesigning all of that. It was hard to do because you think, oh gosh, are we doing the right thing here? You know, because people know us as something different.
Right.
But it actually worked extremely well. And then Abigail, who's our PR lady, is very good at putting things on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and we try and relate it to people who support us, and we put all our events on there. We put pictures and videos of all our events. In fact, our fire truck pull, which happened just recently, the basketball team from South Carolina came out to help, and they did their own video of them at the event. And so that went out on social media, and it went all over the place. And actually Tony Barnhart is on our advisory board for the charity, Mr. College Football, and he actually retweeted the video as well, so it got
some traction.
Yes, a very wide audience, so that was good. But we're just very aware of like trying to do things electronically, because people don't want pieces of paper or mail outs or anything these days. They want to see video, they want to see pictures, they want to know stories. It's all about your story. And I mean, I do have a very unusual story. It doesn't have the happy ending that I would have liked or that anybody would have liked, but at the same time, I think people like to know that you can get through stuff like that, and that you can make something good happen.
Yeah, that's wonderful. We work with a lot of nonprofits here at DWG, and that's the main thing they all say is keeping your story. No one else's story is exactly like your nonprofit, so really just keeping that at the forefront of all of your marketing and PR really just helps a lot. So.
Yeah, and I mean, I never thought that we would have this much success, and people like to see that. They like to think that you're making a difference and that their money is making a difference. One of the, I think, most unique things about what we do is that I insist on meeting all of our doctors whose work that we fund, because I want to be able to look people in the eye and say, I know where your money's going, and I know it's making a difference, because right now it is actually making the difference between a child surviving or not. And I never thought I'd be able to say that, but we are actually using the money to save children's lives, and it doesn't get any more exciting or any more rewarding or just, just amazing that you can actually do that.
Right.
So,
That's amazing. So what challenges have y'all faced as an organization when it comes to marketing and PR?
Well, just resources is a lot of our thing, is that, there's only 5 of us, and Abigail's really the only one who's been doing, PR and marketing, but we all pitch in and help, and we try and get our board to pitch in, although a lot of them are not necessarily that great at social media. But we've been educating them, and I think they're actually getting to quite enjoy the fact that they can share things and say, this is what I'm involved with. Yeah. Look at it, isn't it great? And, we put our doctors' stories out there whenever we can, and of course the children's stories too. And I mean, we're just so blessed that we have so many amazing doctors and families that work with us.
Yeah, I'm still so impressed with all the events that y'all put on, with especially just Abigail being in charge of marketing and PR. So it's incredible that y'all have made the most out of your team of 5.
I didn't really tell you about the fire truck pull, but that was the event that we just had here in Columbia, and that is an amazing success story all by itself, because Abigail has taken it from like the fire station where it was and we moved it to Main Street and worked with Soda City. And instead of 1 fire truck, we have 2 now. And we had almost 50 teams this year participate, and each team pulls for a child who's either in treatment or survived or in memory of a child. And so they're literally, each team is pulling for a child, and the children love it, and their families love it, because they can like cheer them on and watch them actually pull these huge fire trucks with just a piece of rope, which is amazing in itself. But everybody really gets into the spirit of it. And also we encourage the teams to dress in their child's favorite thing. So we actually have big firemen who have dressed up as bunny rabbits just to pull their fire truck, and things like that, or superheroes, whatever it may be. But it is very funny, and like people, the child's a little girl and she likes ballet, they'll dress in tutus. We had the entire equestrian team from South Carolina dressed in tutus one year. So it's a really fun event, and it gets the whole kind of community involved.
That's what I love what you were explaining too, is that the events get the children involved too. And I mean, the supporters and the actual participants in the event, they're really rallying behind like being a part of the community and the cause, but the children are there too, and they get to see what they're doing, how it's actually making an impact. So I think that's really great.
Right, and people are amazing. If you tell them there's a need for them to help, and you give them something to do, they'll do it. Yeah, you know, and they'll get excited about it, which is wonderful.
So what are your hopes for the future of curing kids' cancer?
Well, I want to basically turn childhood cancer from a potentially killer disease into a curable one. Yeah. It's as simple as that. And we're well on the way. Yeah. It's amazing. CAR T-cell therapy, which I mentioned earlier on, is where they take the child's own T-cells, which normally fight colds and infections in you and I, but they never have recognized cancer cells, which is why they don't help to fight it. So they take the T-cells out of the child, they genetically re-engineer them in the lab so that they recognize the proteins that are only on the outside of the cancer cells, not on healthy cells. They put the T-cells back in, so it's like an infusion, a one-time thing. They have used this on children who are on hospice care, and they've had a 95% success rate with it. Wow. So children whose parents have been told there is no hope, you know, make memories, are actually surviving. Yeah, that's incredible. So, you know, it gives me goosebumps every time I think about it. And a 95% success rate with a new treatment is unheard of in the medical world. And it actually got FDA approval about 18 months ago, and it's the first treatment that was specifically designed for children with cancer that has ever been approved by the FDA. Wow. So when you're doing stuff like that, it's so groundbreaking and amazing. I mean, you're actually helping to change the way that cancer is treated.
Yeah, that's so amazing.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to other nonprofits who may be struggling to gain awareness in their communities and really just get started?
I mean, you know, you just have to spend time. I mean, it's time and effort, really, and you know, make sure that you have a good website, make sure that you're on social media, and try and be on as many different things as possible. So like, you know, not just Facebook or just Twitter, but, you know, Instagram and YouTube, do things on YouTube. Right. And if you've got a board, encourage them to help you, friends, family, get people to like share things, retweet, whatever it takes, like things. You know, it's just a question of time and effort. Yeah. And, you know, have a story. That's the most important thing I think I can tell anybody, is like, know what your story is. And, you know, I mean, mine is obviously very particular. I mean, it is literally a life story. Yeah. But, I mean, there are other ways, you know, to explain to people why you're doing what you're doing. And, you know, once you can get them to believe in you, then who knows?
Yeah, that's great advice. So the next portion of the interview, I like to ask everyone just some quick rapid fire questions just to get to know you better. So my first question is, are you a morning person or a night owl?
Oh, I'm a night owl. Really? Definitely not a morning person. No, don't talk to me before I've had a cup of hot tea.
Yeah, I feel you there. What is your spirit animal?
Now, see, I had to go and look this up because I cheated. I knew you were going to ask me this. So I had no idea, but apparently it's a tiger.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you feel like that's accurate?
Probably, yes, because I've had to fight so hard to get, you know, the charity off the ground. And I mean, even when Killian was sick, you have to advocate for your child, so you have to fight for them. So yeah, sure. Probably, yes, yeah. I would think that's fairly accurate.
What are you currently reading or listening to?
Oh gosh, actually I am reading an extremely interesting book called An Elegant Defense, which is written by a journalist, and it's all about your immune system. And how amazing it is, and what it does when it goes wrong, and what it does when it works right. So it's absolutely fascinating. I would definitely recommend it.
What is it called again?
An Elegant Defense.
Okay, have to check that out.
Right.
What is the best advice you've ever received?
Ooh, okay. Probably from my boss at the stock exchange when he was interviewing me, and I said, I have no idea how it all works here. You know, this is all new to me. And he said, that's okay. You're allowed to make mistakes, just never make the same mistake twice. And I was like, okay, all right, learn
No
from your
pressure.
mistakes. Yeah. But you know what? That has stood me in good stead. If I make a mistake, I take note of it, and I'm like, okay, that went horribly wrong. What did I do wrong? And then learn from it.
Right.
So, yeah.
And my last question is, who inspires you?
My son. And all my children, actually, all of them, because, you know, Killian was so brave when he was going through treatment, and it's so horrible, traditional treatment. But the other three went through it with him, and then didn't have him at the end of it.
Yeah.
They have all, you know, persevered, and I love the fact that they still have their faith. And actually, Killian's twin had the worst time ever, because his best friend, who he'd been best friends with since kindergarten, was actually killed in a car accident when he was 15. So poor Garrett lost his two best buddies, and is still out there.
Yeah.
So I'm just very proud of them. They inspire me.
Sure. That's amazing. So that's all the questions that I have, but before we go, I just want you to share where people can go to learn more about curing kids cancer and learn more about your cause and donate and volunteer.
All right. Well, our website is curingkidscancer.org, and we're on Facebook, and we are on Twitter. We're at Curing Cancer on Twitter, and Instagram, and you can just go online and look up our story, my story. It's really the story of the charity, though, and how we do what we do and why we do what we do.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today. It was truly an honor to have you come and talk to us, and I hope you all got some value out of this conversation. I know I did. I'm just feel really lucky that you took the time out of your day to come chat with us here for DWG TV. But with that, please just follow along with us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, to find out when we'll be going live next. And we'll see you then. Thanks, guys. Bye.